Okay, this is, I believe, 4th day of recording, and I should be able to finish it off in this session. Sweet. So I believe that this area, you can cheese it by standing on the final platform while shooting the targets. This doesn't seem to be working. If so, maybe the the game has been modified since I last played it, such that the pillars are already raised by the time I get to the area. Now, I said at the beginning of this that there was a drought in playthroughs of this game. But since then I've discovered that Reese Bagshaw has done playthroughs. Okay, so now that's working. And he or she, Reese is usually a female name, I believe, has... Okay. Did playthroughs of the rebuilt alpha and the beta. However, the version of the beta that she did was 1.1. So somewhat of a long time ago. So what I said is there's a drought of playthroughs is incorrect. And of course, there's also the Beaver House themselves playthrough. If you haven't seen that yet, they're very much being themselves in the playthrough. It's very locker roomish in nature. I can't get cheesing this to work. Now, since I'm like nearing the end of this, it may make sense to summarize exactly what I think of what's going right and what's going wrong with the game. There's a puzzle here I'm having a hard time solving. The first issue with the game is that simply it's too small. I would wish that the game would take up more space on my screen. You would think that would be my fault, right? There's some sort of setting you can change to change the screen size. However, I haven't figured out how to do that. Changing the resolution doesn't change the size of the window. And I tried changing the attribute for windowed, right, from 1 to 0, but that did not full screen the game. It just stayed in a window. So I couldn't figure out a way to change how much real estate the game took up on my screen. So that's the first issue that would, I presume, needs to be resolved. I gotta figure the targets out. I already ran out of ammo. That's weird because I died, so that should have reset my ammo. If dying does not reset your ammo in this area, that's a bug. Okay. So that's the first, so that's point number one. It doesn't take enough space on my screen. Again, I don't know if that has something to do with my screen in particular. Or if on somebody else's screen you wouldn't see this problem. I got my ammo reset now. That's good. The second thing, the Rahi, particularly the fast-moving bugs in Anua's level, and the Kane Ra, their motion doesn't seem to have a good sense of the concept of mass to it. They can change direction on a dime, which kind of makes sense for the bug, but not so much for the Kane Ra because it's a bull, right? Okay. And so it should charge at you, and then once it charges, it should go through you, and then turn around and come back at you after it goes through you. It shouldn't just kind of stick to you and relentlessly change directions and go in a circle. So I should probably save like a lecture about how exactly I would try to go about developing the physics of bugs and bulls. However, the physics is not very pleasing to look at the moment. It appears I still haven't solved the puzzle completely. I'll just die because I don't have enough time. So, problem number one, the screen's too small. Problem number two, the physics for the faster bugs and the bull are not very pleasing to the eye. Now, this is not a anything significantly it's not really that big a deal. Like, there are many things much more frustrating about the game than the bugs running between your legs. If anybody's worried about the bugs running between your legs, well, there's just don't. It's not really that big a deal, but it's still a thing. I don't know if it's possible how easy it would be to fix that, as some of the characteristics of this game, they're what they call hard-coded. That meaning they're like in executable format or some such. So you need to decompile them or something of that nature to fix them. I'm not too well versed in the very specifics of how this game is constructed, so take everything I say with a bucket of salt. Okay, so that really messed things up. The resetting when dying here is not really sensible. Sometimes it resets my ammo, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it resets the puzzle, and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, thing I noticed, number 3. There's been huge improvements in the game's tendency to crash when dying. Originally, it seemed that oftentimes when the death hitbox was in close proximity to terrain, the death hitbox was in close proximity to terrain. That one's already up. That dying would result in death. I mean, dying would result in crashing. And this happened particularly in the areas in Liwa's level with vines, and board 3 in Kopaka's level, in areas with lava, and so on. And that seems to be fixed quite a bit. As it no longer crashes near as often in the areas with vines if you die. It no longer crashes near as often in board 3 when you die. But I still experienced it crashing while falling into lava. Yeah, that was bad. That was reverse progress. And for some odd reason, I still experience crashing almost every time you die in the sliding portion of Liwa's level. So I guess that would be point number 3. They're still crashing upon death at certain places where the death hitbox is close to terrain. Or in the case of the sliding part, there doesn't seem to be any terrain there. So I don't know what's going on there, but that they're still crashing upon death there. And what's even stranger about that is that I thought that was fixed at some point. And I think that's pretty much it. There was a few random crashes here and there, right? There was a part in Liwa's level where my character randomly just disappeared, and it just crashed. As well as I jumped on a bug in Galley's level, and then it just crashed. I'm out of energy. I guess I just have to die now. Some positive things to say about the state of the game. It looks like I'm going to be able to complete the entire thing without using the debug menu whatsoever. So no debug camera and no warping. And not only would I not ever use the debug menu, but the save filing system seems to be working completely and be completely reliable. So I don't have to be lucky with the saves or lucky with the crashes. And I don't have to complete this whole thing in one sitting. I managed to complete this in multiple sittings. So the game is now completely playable from start to finish without losing your progress. And in so being has come a long way since patch 1.1. Because in that state, it seemed impossible to get through the whole thing without encountering a crash that would cause your save file to corrupt, and then you had to start over from the beginning. So level select is not enabled by default anymore. Again, level select is equal to Lego tester. But level select is no longer needed, as far as I can observe. Literally using the Kakama to try to outrun the timer. That took way longer than it should have, and I'm not proud of that. I also had this like random thought that like, what if it has to do with what my concept is of the bug physics, right? And how I would approach going about programming new bug physics. It may be that the bugs not behaving well in close proximity to your character is similar to how your character would not behave well in close proximity to the air elemental. And so there might be some sort of mismatch between the frame rate or the update rate of the game and the delta t or the delta time in some sort of finite difference ODE solve. That ring down there, oh, I have to shoot something to get it to come up, I presume. Do these things have a range? Go back. Okay, these targets, if I do the correct thing to them, they should move that ring up, and they should move these platforms down so that you can continue platforming until you get to the door. And for some reason, I haven't got that to function correctly yet. You can cheese it, right? You could just jump directly to the door if you jump just right. Yeah, and apparently also there's a way to cheese Pohatu's level. I just couldn't get in range of the targets from the place from which you would do it, right? I couldn't stand on that last platform, and while standing on that last platform, get it to raise. That does not appear to be working, okay? Yeah, those things don't appear to be grapple targets, as in you shoot the grapple hook at it and then it does something. Yeah, the bug physics never gets fixed, that's fine. That's not nearly as much of a problem as you would think it is. can't tell if I'm just not figuring out how to do this right, or whether or not there's actually an incompleteness to this area, where those are supposed to do something and they just don't because it's not working. I mean, I've seen it done. I've seen the platforms be moved. Notice how you don't have masks that you would pick up by Toa in later levels available in each Toa's respective Makuta level, so I don't have access to the Miru right now. That would make this a lot easier. Okay, I noticed my capacity for both health and energy is egregiously large right now. It's larger than it should be. That's a notorious bug. When if the timer runs out while you're on a vine, then the timer just resets. Okay, I have to stay off of the vine such that my energy resets when the time runs out. Phooey. And that's it.